2017's China Salesman might just be the best movie I have seen in a very long time. Starring China's Dongxi Li, Mike Tyson from Mike Tyson Mysteries, and famous actor Steven Seagal, who starred as an action hero in the early 90s but has since tarnished his reputation. So I'd always heard of this Steven Seagal guy, but I just did a quick research on him, and with a quick search on his Wikipedia page, it shows multiple lawsuits and sexual allegations of sexual harassment against young women, as well as other numerous incidences. But back to the main topic today, which is China Salesman or Deadly Contract, or just the greatest Chinese propaganda film I've probably ever seen.
You're not welcome here, China Salesman.
Gin has faded from China, reached the shores of Africa hundreds of years ago, or a single person asleep. On the fire!
Alright, so for the plot, the movie opens fantastic with just sweeping African deserts and a bunch of other stuff that I didn't really understand, but that's okay. Now, I watched a free copy that I'm going to link on YouTube, so it had little to no English subtitles, but I'm glad to know that it was able to tell me that it was based off of a true story. As you can see in this scene, that's supposed to be Steven Seagal riding a motorcycle, but it's clearly CGI'd his face into the helmet, because that's not him riding it. Alright, so about 3 minutes into the film, we're introduced to this guy that looks like Matt Gaetz, who later is found out that his name is Michael, and that he's a French guy, and that he really doesn't like the Chinese people, as well as Susanna, who is also a bigot. So just for some context, you might have to watch this stuff for yourself, but the first 5 minutes of the film is so weirdly cut. You go from like 30 seconds to seeing these people in a car, then you see Steven Seagal giving out alcohol to people, and then it cuts back to Matt Gaetz sexually harassing Susanna, and then it cuts back to the Chinese people, and then about a minute later it cuts back to Mike Tyson arguing about how he wants his land back.
Our people are not extinct. We're now spread all over Africa. For sure I can recover our nation, but I need your help.
You know, Mike Tyson's acting, I think he actually did a better job in his animated cartoon show. Alright, so at this point in the film, I mean, we're like, what, 7 minutes in, and I'm already kind of confused on what's going on. In this scene, it seems as though Steven Seagal knows Michael, who is the bad guy, and Michael wants Mike Tyson to work for him, but he's not willing to do it because Mike Tyson doesn't drink because of his religion.
I do not drink, but I will stick to my faith.
So they offer him to drink piss instead, but he gets pissed at that, obviously, and they have to fight. And he even beats up Steven Seagal, or I guess I should say Steven Seagal's stuntman.
Motherfucker, you drink piss.
For the next scene in the film, you have these guys from Europe, the Chinese people, and then these other people trying to get like what it seems for the bid for a telecommunications network. But the European people, you know, they're being bigots to Yin Jin, who, by the way, is our main character. And they start talking about like 3G or something like that.
Based on this, wireless communication will be upgraded into 4G, 5G, 6G, or maybe...
Are you suggesting 3G is a standard?
Yes.
Yin Jin, being the great China salesman, is able to convince them that 3G is going to be the future. And the African guy says, you know what? I think that's going to be good. We agree to your terms. And thus, our plot starts with a conspiracy of who is Michael and what is he actually up to. Because you can obviously tell he's not really there to be a good business person, unlike the great China salesman.
You son of a bitch.
You're nothing but a liar. You just make a fool of us in there.
In case you haven't noticed, you're no match for that Chinese guy.
And now we get like a montage of Mike Tyson like spying on Yin Jin and listening to his conversations in Chinese. Now, I don't know this, but I got a good feeling that Mike Tyson doesn't really speak or understand any bit of Chinese. Oh, there we go. Steven Seagal sexually harassing someone. So Yin Jin and Susanna are like at a cell tower in the middle of a desert installing some kind of DH telecom program. And she's like, oh, I need to use my fingerprint in order to activate the station, or something stupid like that. But then she just starts staring out, and then she gets this. For this next few scenes, I'm just going to have to let it play out.
Don't cry.
What are you doing? You barbarians! Why do you harm a child? Why do you harm a child? Hold me down! I don't want to hurt the child!
So I cut some scenes, but Susanna was able to save the little kid and then contact this dude who somehow calls Yin Jin's girlfriend to come pick him up the next day. She hands him something to drink, and you find out it had alcohol in it or something. I don't know. It's in Chinese, so I don't know what's going on here. But alcohol is illegal in whatever country this is supposed to take place in. I think it's supposed to be Uganda, but I can't really prove that. It cuts to Susanna picking up some photos that are like photoshopped by Mike Tyson and his spy equipment to make it look like the Chinese people are stealing equipment or some kind of thing. And she gives it to the African guy, and he's just like, no, this is fair competition, and she says it's illegal. I don't understand what's going on, but now they're going to compete to see which company is going to have the best equipment in order to get the telecom contract for Africa.
But now, let's see what this China salesman will have for us for the main course.
Mrs. Susanna, well, yes, I'm a China salesman. Why don't you call me Mr. Yan or Yan Jian? You have my name in front of you. That's the least thing you can do to show respect. I will make you call me Mr. Yan.
I didn't mention this earlier because it was only a 15-second scene, but Michael got like a jammer to stop the Chinese 3G network from working, so it made them look like they were a bad company. But of course the jammer stops working after Mr. Yin Jin is able to fix everything. But watch, after this, I just don't understand what's happening.
Sorry for the interruption. Spot check. Who's Yan Jin? Yan Jin, you have violated the laws of our country and are hereby under arrest for drinking and hiding alcohol.
This is not alcohol. It's goat milk.
Goat's milk.
Goat milk.
Get him up.
I will set up.
Let's go.
Trust me.
Let's go.
So, what do you think happens next? If you thought Mike Tyson just comes in out of nowhere with a massive army and takes over, then you would be right. So it's not really explained like why all this is happening, but I guess there's like a civil war because the president earlier got like his helicopter shot down or something like that.
The Civil War is unavoidable.
So this plot point isn't explained until, well, actually I'm not sure if it's ever explained, but I'm pretty sure that it's implied that Michael, who works for some like evil like Western country, shot down the president to cause the Civil War to happen. And in return, since the Civil War happens, he gets Mike Tyson to continue the front so that he can take control and eventually just make a whole bunch of money selling weapons in Africa. But Mike Tyson's like,
people are sick and tired of war. They're more willing to sit down and talk now.
He also tells Mike Tyson to go blow up all the cell towers because he doesn't want the North and the South to be able to contact each other so that they can actually figure out that it was all set up by the West. But of course, Michael doesn't tell Mike Tyson that. He just tells Mike Tyson, oh, the bad guys killed the person that you like, so now you need to start a war so that you can take over and get back your land. So Mike Tyson's Call of Duty gang decides to head out and go blow up some cell towers, while another militant group shows up and saves everyone. Yin Jin is able to convince the other group that he can fix all the towers, but in order to do so, he has to steal Michael's company's technology in order to get his working, because Mike Tyson's gang came and blew up all of his technology. I don't understand, but that's a really big key point coming up. Yin Jin also needs to reset the cell tower, so him, the militant group, and Susanna head out to go reset the cell towers, and this is where all the action takes place. I mean, Mike Tyson starts attacking the towers and blowing them up.
Fire.
On their way to the second tower, they get attacked by the other militant group, so they decide to fly a UN flag, but of course they don't have a UN flag. But what flag do you think Yin Jin is able to find in order to stop everyone from attacking? I thought this next scene was straight out of a parody film. It's so stupid.
There's the third tower. We can restore the connection in an hour from now.
Now, with the third and final cell tower blown to pieces, what are they going to do? And there's a sandstorm coming.
Madam, excuse me.
Yin Jin and company have to wait because of the sandstorm, as does Mike Tyson, and he's not happy about it. So Yin Jin is able to fix the third tower. Mike Tyson blows it up. More action sequences. A UN helicopter comes out of nowhere. They're able to broadcast the signal from the helicopter. The North and South are able to communicate, and after about maybe a day, the Civil War is done.
Let's walk together.
And at this point in the film, I thought the movie was wrapping up. I mean, the day's saved, Civil War is done, Yin Jin gets recognition, Mike Tyson finds peace and rides off into the sunset. But little did I know, I was completely wrong. So Michael shows up with that lawyer that you see on the typical news and slaps Yin Jin with a lawsuit saying that they stole technology in order to get their server working.
Michael, you're such a liar.
Which they did earlier in the film because all their technology for DH got destroyed by Mike Tyson's crew. I'm pretty sure at this point Yin Jin gets fired from the company and is very upset. But Michael's still not having it because he needs to steal some kind of enhancement program for the 3G. So he tells Steven Seagal, hey, you gotta go and kill this guy. And Steven Seagal says,
No way. I know all about you.
Listen, man, I don't care who you are or about your veiled threats. When I say no, it means no.
Yin Jin is walking down some alley when some ninjas show up and try to kill him. But Steven Seagal, or at least I think it's Steven Seagal, shows up and saves Michael and then takes him to some dude in the desert who was that guy that saved Mike Tyson from earlier.
So, you awake, Mr. Ranjan?
Thank you for saving my life.
You don't have to thank me. It is Laudo who brought you.
While staying with that guy, some bald British dude shows up and says, "Hey, I want you to come work for me, Yin Jin." He's like, "No, I gotta go and clear my name with DH, and I gotta release the source code because that's the only way I can do it." So he heads out on his adventure. But Michael shows up, shoots that guy that saved him from earlier, and I don't actually understand what's happening at this point. It's really going off the rails. It turns into like a Lawrence of Arabia thing where Yin Jin's walking through the desert, and then he gets on some boat. Michael goes out in the desert and recruits Mike Tyson to go kill Yin Jin / steal the enhancement program. And now they're all on that boat. They bust into Yin Jin's room. Michael says, "Yin Jin, you gotta re-give me that enhancement program because I can't find it." So Yin Jin gives it to him. But oh, it was a trick. He actually gave him a fake program. But he had already told Mike Tyson to go kill Yin Jin. But Yin Jin had given this great speech about how the Chinese have never done anything wrong for the people of Africa.
You're not welcome here, China salesman.
Is slave trade part of your civilization? And spreading war and hunger part of your democracy? Genghis fleet from China reached the shores of Africa hundreds of years ago. They only left friendship and peace. They did not take an inch of land or a single person as a slave.
So Tyson takes Yin Jin, throws him overboard, but he's still holding on to a little bit. And then he's like, "Oh wait, you can't do that because Michael was the one that killed Sheikh Said."
Jump!
Good try. You did try. They killed your Sheikh Said.
Sheikh Said is dead? Who killed him?
Michael did. He shot him.
And he's like, "Oh, he killed him? That's not true. But it is. Here's proof." And then he just lets him go. Yin Jin's girlfriend contacts Steven Seagal, and he probably delivers the best line in the entire film.
Hey, why don't you guys speak English?
And that's also the last time we will see Steven Seagal in this entire film. So eventually, Yin Jin makes it. He's able to get the DH source code. He's going to go make it public. So DH Telecom wins the €3 billion contract, and Yin Jin finally gets the respect from his company and his peers. So I'm pretty sure he gets rehired at this point. Up and they start planting bombs in it. Mr. Clean gives some really ironic speech about privacy and freedom, and then congratulates the Chinese workforce as well as Yin Jin, or as he likes to say,
"Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. The man of the hour has arrived. He did not let me down. He did not let us down. Let's all welcome Mr. Yan Jian, the great China salesman."
So DH Telecom wins the €3 billion contract, and Yin Jin finally gets the respect from his company and his peers. So I'm pretty sure he gets rehired at this point. But boom, out of nowhere, Mike Tyson starts blowing up stuff, and he shows up and he's like, "Are you guys really ready to die?"
Don't move! There's bombs all over the place. Do you really want all of these people to die? Huh?
He's like, "Oh wait, I already knew that Michael had betrayed him." So he puts it on the big screen and then shows Mike Tyson blowing him up.
You get nothing.
You get nothing! You get nothing!
Yin Jin tells him, "Don't do it. Don't do it. What about the people from your tribe?"
Kingdom, brothers and sisters. Yes, let it go. And you will find peace wherever you may be. Please, just let it go. Please.
Kaba.
Mike Tyson puts a hole in his head. Yin Jin gets all upset. And then he gets arrested for illegally releasing the source code, but don't worry, he gets released 2 days later. And he works to better Africa. There's some text at the end that goes way too fast, so I'll just throw it up on screen. It talks about 3G source code, and that's really the end of the film. So all in all, it was probably the best film I'd seen all this summer. I mean, its only competition so far has been Space Jam 2, and that's at a distant second. I loved Mike Tyson in this film. His poor lisp, all the terrible English speaking from almost all the cast, and Steven Seagal sitting down in just about almost every scene that he's in. But honestly, I could see that Dong-Shi Lee, who played Yin Jin, really cared about his role in the film and did a great job in his role as the great China salesman. And lastly, I'd like to give a shout out to the guy that played Michael in the film. He played a cartoon villain role very well.
Mr. Duchamp.
Don't worry, the police have been paid off.
Okay.
Would I call China Salesman a good movie? No, but I would call it the most absurd movie I've ever seen. From the propaganda to random action sequences that reminded me of Tiananmen Square, I would give 2017's China Salesman a Taiwan #1 out of 10.